Tēnā koe.
Tēnā koe. E mi atu kia koutou, huri noa te whare nei. E mi atu kia koutou. Mr. Speaker, thank you to all of the previous speakers, particularly the two ministers, and also my members of the Māori Affairs Select Committee. And the previous speaker, the Honourable Nanaia Mahuta, also for really critiquing the incredible journey to date that this bill has actually been through. I understand that we've always tried to be principled and pragmatic, and so I think the real debate will come in the committee stage. So I just want to, first of all, acknowledge a lot of the consultation, sir, that's gone around this bill. And particularly, sir, it's been extensive. I mean, the whole process before reaching the House, sir, we've heard in sort of previous speeches. In fact, sir, it's been through 16 drafts. What we have here in this bill today, sir, is 465 clauses and 12 schedules as well. So in sort of looking at that and looking at the very sort of comprehensive way that it's been done, in fact, sir, I think it's probably the most consulted on bill I've seen during my time in the House anyway, which has been quite short, but it has been sort of a long process. So as a result of that sort of preliminary work and consultation, the decision was made to introduce a new standalone bill. And I think this is one of the sort of major milestones of the bill, originally perhaps around a review, amendments, but then it was decided, sir, that a standalone bill would be developed. However, the bill, sir, does also need to repeal and amend some other acts, and it's entirely appropriate, I think, that these parts of the bill will become a separate piece of legislation alongside what will become two main acts, the Te Ture Whenua Māori Act and the Te Koti Whenua Māori Act as well. So the Select Committee process for the bill has been a long one, as we've heard. We have spent a great deal of time considering the bill in detail and consulting with officials, and I want to acknowledge again the officials, as has been done by previous speakers, particularly Tāria Tahana and John Grant as well. So when we looked at the consulting, so I mean over 150 submitters, 47 of them, sir, were actually heard in person. But I think it's also worth noting or pointing out that these submitters to our Select Committee actually represented the views of many more Māori with interests in Māori land. As sir, many of the submitters who we heard from were actually making their submissions on behalf of very large groups of Māori. And I think of, sir, the Federation of Māori Authorities, which represents over 250 members, also, sir, the Māori Women's Welfare League, etc., etc. So they didn't just, even a small number, sir, but it was how many people they actually represented as well. So as a result of the Māori Affairs Committee, the recommendation of a number of amendments to the bill, and there's just a couple, sir, that I just want to, I know I've only got a very, very short time, but what I want to do, sir, there are two parts of that bill, sir, which I've sort of had sort of a personal experience on, and that's what I wanted to sort of cover them. Sir, I think one of them is actually around the two main changes, and the first one, sir, was to change how the descent and relationships, sir, are determined, and that descent factor was very, really important. So one of the core principles of this bill is that tikaka Māori should be used in determined matters related to Māori land. And as it comes to us, sir, the bill will not have done this in the case of determining descent relationships that have involved adopted children. However, sir, we believe that it was more appropriate and more in line with the core principles of the bill to defer to the tikaka Māori and allow it, sir, to override anything to the contrary in the Adoption Act. The other part, sir, was that we have also recommended that the relevant tikaka in the situation would be that of whānau or hapu, with whānau taking precedence. And this, sir, is important because in the original Act, it was actually the tikaka of the iwi that was actually used. Sir, another amendment that I think is a particularly good one, and it's a change on how the bill deals with owners of Māori freehold land who are minors. Sir, we recognise and respect that other of our property laws, a minor does not have the ability to enter into contracts related to land. However, we do not want to see situations where the interests of a minor who owns Māori freehold land are ignored, even if, sir, they are a significant or majority owner. Our recommended amendment, sir, alleviates this by allowing a property manager who has been appointed under the Protection of Personal Personnel and Property Rights, Sir, Act 1998, to vote on behalf of a minor. Mr Speaker, the Ture Whenua Māori Bill represents a major change, as was highlighted by the Minister. And, Sir, it's actually about the utilisation and the retention of Māori land. A huge amount of work, sir, and consultation has gone into the bill, as we've heard. And, sir, it is really my pleasure and honour as the Chair of the Māori Affairs Select Committee to commend the bill to the House. Kia ora.